The Duke carefully lifts a spoonful of food and gently brings it to the princess's lips, his grin so unnervingly wide it could make a jester reconsider his career choices. She takes a bite, chews thoughtfully, then nods with delight, assuring him that it's absolutely perfect. Across the table, they sit facing each other, the young lady savoring every bite of her blissful meal, while the Duke watches with a mix of satisfaction and that ever-present eerie smile. Something is freaky about this setting. After a while, he comments on the chilly air creeping into the room. Without hesitation, he shrugs off his thick coat and drapes it over her shoulders like a gentleman from a storybook, preventing even the tiniest cold breeze from reaching her. She clutches the warm fabric, feeling a bit like a treasured relic in a glass case, precious, protected, and mildly overwhelmed. Expressing her gratitude, she flashes a soft smile, and for a fleeting moment, the atmosphere could almost be mistaken for something straight out of a romance novel. That's definitely not it. Minutes pass before he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small bell, placing it delicately in her hands. He instructs her to ring it the moment she requires anything, his tone laced with the kind of seriousness that makes it seem like this bell holds the power to summon the gods themselves. It's crazy her. The princess grasps it tightly, her fingers wrapping around it with an intensity that suggests it's no ordinary object, but rather the key to her very survival. With that, the Duke turns on his heel, making his way toward the exit, his cape, because of course he has a cape, billowing dramatically behind him. Just as he's about to leave, the princess, driven by an impulse she doesn't quite understand, springs forward, calling out for him to wait. However, before she can take a single step closer, something yanks her backward with an unforgiving force. In an instant, she finds herself meeting the floor in an unfortunate display of gravity's cruelty. Her chains had kept her from moving any further. Silence fills the room, thick and suffocating, before it's shattered, not by a dramatic thunderclap, though that would be fitting, but by the unmistakable sound of Jayna's dignity crumbling into dust. She grips the cold metal chain binding her, panic-lacing her voice as she pleads for freedom, for mercy, for literally anything other than this. But Mercy is apparently on vacation, because the Duke just stares at her, expression as warm as an ice sculpture at a summer festival. His gaze darkens, that villainous aura practically rolling off him in waves. Seriously, someone should check if he's legally required to register it as a hazardous material. He takes a step closer, his voice dripping with the kind of certainty that makes fate itself take notes. Jayna will never step outside this room again. Ever. Period. And the way he says it. He acts like he's doing her a favor, like she should be thanking him for her brand new, heavily fortified accommodations. According to him, she will be happy. Whether she likes it or not. Love? Obsession? Whatever this is, it's definitely got a membership card to the Evil Villains Club. A slow, wicked grin stretches across his face, the kind of smile that could haunt even the bravest of souls, or at the very least, fuel a lifetime of therapy bills. He says her name, Jayna, softly, almost tenderly, like a lover would. It would be sweet if it weren't horrifically unsettling. The moment lingers, the air so thick with his twisted version of affection that it might as well be fog. And then, bam, the door slams shut with a force that rattles the very walls, as if even the building itself is nervous. The chained princess throws herself against the door, her desperate cries filling the empty halls. Again and again, she pleads for mercy, for freedom, for anything but this cruel fate. But outside, Theo does not stop. He does not turn back. He does not hesitate. His steps are unhurried, like a man on a casual stroll through the park, except instead of feeding birds or admiring flowers, he's just locked away a helpless young woman, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Diabolical. Her screams continue, bouncing off the grand walls, but no one comes to her aid. No knights, no servants, no saviors. Only silence answers her suffering. What's running through his mind? Simple. She belongs to him. She can't escape his love. Is this love? or it's an unholy obsession. And just like that, the screen fades to black. A sigh escapes the lips of our real protagonist, the female gamer staring unimpressed at her laptop screen. A half-empty bag of snacks sits beside her, as she slowly crunches another bite, deep in thought over the bad ending she's just witnessed. She squints at the game's final scene, eyebrows furrowing in confusion. This is a bad ending. Doesn't meet her standards maybe. She leans back, arms crossed, replaying it in her head. The princess is well fed, dressed in the finest clothes, kept in a luxurious room. And the male lead, handsome, rich, and completely devoted to her. Sure, the whole permanent captivity thing is a little questionable, but is it really the worst fate imaginable? She takes another bite of her snack, mulling it over. Yeah, nope, she mutters to herself. I've seen worse. Her phone buzzes on the desk, but she doesn't move right away. Instead, she stares blankly at the ceiling, letting out a long, dramatic sigh. That can't be the end, she thinks. She isn't satisfied. She wants more. More of the story, more of the twisted romance, more of that ridiculously devoted Duke with his questionable morals and even more questionable grin. More. As she ponders this, she absent-mindedly mutters to herself. All the princess had to do was eat good food and relax in a luxurious room for the rest of her life. That doesn't sound half bad. She sighs dreamily. Honestly. Sign me up. For a brief moment, she really considers it. A life of ease, free meals, and a devoted, albeit slightly unhinged, man catering to her every whim. Some people dream of being CEOs or world travelers. Meanwhile, I just want to be pampered in captivity. Is that so wrong? Okay, maybe that sounds a little crazy. Before she can get too deep into self-reflection, she finally grabs her phone, curiosity winning out. It's a response to the job application she submitted a while back. Instantly, excitement flares in her chest. This is it. The good news I've been waiting for. She opens the message. Her excitement dies faster than a background character in a horror movie. Rejected. She didn't get the job. The reason? Unprofessional conduct during the selection process. The words glare back at her from the screen, bold, final, and somehow personally offended. She doesn't blink. Doesn't even move. And then, slowly, her lips curve into a grin. Ah, yeah. That checks out. She remembers exactly what she did. Oh, she didn't just complain, she went full Karenat customer service mode. And not just the mild, can I speak to the manager, type. No. This was boss fight music playing in the background level rage. She had yelled at them. Loudly. Passionately, with the kind of energy that could scare a grown man into refunding a non-refundable purchase. And now? Well. Actions, consequences, yada yada. Does she regret it? Nope. Not even a little. Honestly, she didn't expect much from the job anyway. She lets out a short laugh, shrugs, and casually tosses her phone onto the couch like a pro athlete who just retired mid-game. Welp. That's life. And just like that, she moves on. No tears. No internal monologue about fate. Just an empty stomach and a singular, all-consuming thought, what's for dinner? After a quick grocery run, our girl exits the store, plastic bag in hand, when something outside catches her eye. Our female lead stops dead in her tracks, blinking in surprise. A huge ad is plastered on the wall across the street. And not just any ad, it's for the exact same game she was playing earlier. How to fall in love with the obsessed man. Our girl snorts. Well, that explains why it was so dramatic. Asterisk, a love simulation game about two characters, one hopelessly devoted, the other trapped in a room with said devotion. And here it is, advertised on a massive billboard for all the world to see. Good game, huh? Must be if they are throwing ads everywhere. Star. Our female lead hums thoughtfully, taking another look at the title. It is kind of wild. But now that she thinks about it, our girl wouldn't mind seeing what happens if she plays again. Jayna Blake, a princess bound by duty, finds herself in a marriage of convenience with Duke Theros Leah Crana. At first glance, Theo is the perfect male lead, breathtakingly gorgeous, brooding, and wrapped in an air of mystery. But to the world, he's a man to be feared, shunned by society because of his dark origins. Good reason for their fear and dread. He comes from North Saronia, a land riddled with demonic creatures and unspeakable evil, a place where nightmares walk freely. Then, one day, she appears, Jayna, a woman so warm and radiant she might as well have been hand-delivered by the heavens. Against all odds, she melts the Archduke's frozen heart. Love blooms between them, and soon, they carve out a seemingly blissful married life. But wait. There's a catch. Of course, there's always a catch. Theo's love doesn't just grow. It consumes. What starts as devotion spirals into something far more dangerous. An obsession so deep that escape is no longer an option. Because of this, the game boasts a staggering 50 different bad endings. The developers really outdid themselves with this one. Was it a stroke of genius? Or pure madness? Who even thinks of something like this? Regardless, our female lead absolutely adores this game. It's not just a hobby, it's her own personal, very unhealthy obsession. She thinks about it way too much. But can you blame her? A stunning, devoted male lead willing to go to extreme lengths to keep his beloved by his side forever. Where do I sign up? Then it happens. She freezes mid-step. A realization hits her like a bolt of lightning. I just said all of that out loud, didn't I? Our girl must look so crazy right now. A quick glance around confirms her worst fear. Passers-by are definitely staring. A group of women walking past whisper among themselves, shooting her sideways glances that scream, "Who is this crazy lady?" Panic bubbles in her chest, but she recovers almost instantly. With a flick of her hair, and a completely unnecessary dramatic turn, our female pretends like absolutely nothing happened and goes on her way. It's almost like she is unbothered. She is graceful. Our girl is distracted. Something from across the street catches her eye. A small figure, tiny and helpless. A kitten. It sits there, staring right at her, meowing as if it knows her, as if it's calling our finale lead specifically. Her lips tug into a soft smile. "Are you hungry tonight?" she calls out, lifting her grocery bag. "I bought something extra special for you." The kitten meows again, its little tail flicking. Then, to her horror, it moves. Not toward her from the sidewalk, but onto the road. A truck speeds down the street. Too fast. Way too fast. Her breath catches. Her heartbeat slams against her ribs like it's trying to break out and file a complaint. The moment stretches, somehow both crawling and racing at the same time. The kitten. Tiny. Helpless. In serious danger. Her brain doesn't process. Doesn't calculate risks. Doesn't even hesitate. She moves. Instinct takes over, and our female lead sprints. She lunges forward, arms outstretched, and, gotcha, grabs the kitten just in time. Relief floods her chest, until it doesn't. Until she realizes something else. Doom has arrived. The truck. It's close. Too close. Her breath hitches. Is this how it ends? Not in some grand adventure, not in some dramatic showdown, but because of bad timing and an unfortunate lack of street awareness. Well, that's unfortunate. A deafening crash. Everything goes blank. Darkness. Silence. And then, a scream. Our female lead jolts upright like she just got hit with a lightning bolt, hand flying up in sheer panic, heart pounding an aggressive drum solo against her ribs. What just happened? 1 minute, she was about to be aggressively removed from existence by a truck, the next, she's lying on a bed. A bed? Something is wrong. Very wrong. Her hands tremble as she lifts them to her face, because what else do you do when reality stops making sense? She scrambles to her feet, eyes darting around like she's in the middle of an escape room she definitely didn't sign up for. Ornate furniture. Elegant curtains. A mirror so massive it could probably double as a portal to another dimension. This is not her apartment. Her mind races, chaos dialed up to 11. The truck? The accident? The kitten? Where is it? Is it okay? Did she lose it? Is it hurt? Did it survive? The door slams open. Before she can react, something heavy smacks her straight in the face. Fabric. No, a dress. She stumbles back, catching it before it falls to the floor, eyes wide as a stranger storms into the room. Miss Jayna, the woman shouts, her voice shrill enough to break glass. You need to get dressed immediately. The dress? The overly fancy room. The absolute confidence in which this woman just called her Jayna. Her brain short-circuits. Hold on. What did you just call me? No way she heard that correctly. Our girl couldn't comprehend her own thoughts. The handmaiden's expression twists into something between frustration and disbelief. Have you forgotten what day it is? She demands. You're leaving for the Duke's castle today. The handmaiden huffs, clearly fed up, and storms out of the room, slamming the door with enough force to shake the walls. Left alone, our female lead stands there, still clutching the dress like it holds the answers to life itself. Her mind is a mess. Did our female lead really hear all of that correctly? The Duke's castle. Miss Jayna. She needs confirmation. Slow, hesitant steps lead her to the massive mirror across the room. Her throat runs dry as she whispers the name again, Jayna. The reflection staring back at her is not her. It's a beauty beyond mortal comprehension. Her eyes gleam like pink diamonds, dazzling and unreal. Her skin is so luminous and flawless it could make even the best skincare influencers weep. They couldn't touch this level of perfection. Her hair flows like silk, untouched by the horrors of cheap shampoo. Our girl leans in closer, studying every perfect detail. This is Jayna Blake. The same amazing character from the game. The same Jayna Blake who was supposed to marry Theo. Her breath quickens. Our girl's thoughts spiral. Wait, hold on, this can't be real. But then, a thought sneaks in. A wild, insane, absolutely unhinged thought. Is this an Isekai? The realization crashes down like a meteor. Did she really die and get reborn as Jayna? Is she actually inside the game? The questions pile up, but before our female lead can even try to make sense of it, her excitement explodes. No way, no way, no way. She throws her arms in the air, eyes sparkling like a child on Christmas morning. Her ridiculous wish actually came true. The wish to live a life free of work, stress, and money problems. And best of all, a devoted, attractive male lead to pamper her every single day. Confinement ending. Oh, she welcomes it. She anticipates it. This is her dream life now. Is it just me, or is our female lead completely unhinged? She's definitely not the average young lady. Our female lead tears her gaze away from the mirror, her thoughts spiraling. Wait a second, this doesn't make sense. Mere minutes ago, she was in an accident, on the verge of becoming a tragic traffic statistic. So where is she now? She wanders on and on. Then, the thought hits her again, and her eyes sparkle like a kid who just found an extra fry at the bottom of the bag. Our girl's inside the game. And not just as some random background character, she's Jayna Blake. The stunning, delicate, pampered princess of the story. Her knees give out, and she drops to the floor. "Thank you, God," she cries, throwing her hands toward the heavens like our girls just won the lottery. "I promise to live this new life to the fullest. I'll be good. I won't even complain if my food's too salty." Our female lead practically vibrates with anticipation. If she's remembering the plot correctly, she's at the Blake mansion, and today is the day. Yes, a great day indeed. The day she's supposed to travel to northern Saronia to marry Theo. Her new life begins now. Without wasting another second, she rushes to the closet, practically ripping the doors open. It's time to pack, and then, silence. Confusion. Horror. The closet is empty. Her entire body stiffens. Huh? Nothing. Not a single gown. No shoes, no accessories, not even a spare hairpin. Just pure, heartbreaking emptiness. It's so mind-blowing. And then, it dawns on her. In all her excitement, she completely forgot Jayna's backstory. Jayna's backstory isn't the fairytale beginning one might expect. As an illegitimate child, she's despised, ignored, and outright bullied by nearly everyone in the Blake mansion, servants included. That's so sad. While the rest of the household basks in luxury, she has spent her life tucked away in a small, dusty attic room, practically a glorified storage closet. Crazy, right? Not exactly the dream life. But does our girl break down in sorrow? Does she crumble under the weight of her tragic past? Absolutely not. With a grin that would make even the most optimistic people nervous, she grabs hold of a suitcase, her empty suitcase, because let's be real, she has nothing to pack, and stands tall. All right, time to go live my best life. She marches out of her room, stepping into the grand hallway, and immediately stops. It's amazing. Her eyes widen as she takes in the mansion's scenery. The high ceilings. The expensive chandeliers. The walls adorned with fine paintings. The rich, luxurious carpets so soft they probably feel like clouds underfoot. It's breathtaking. Wild, wild stuff all around her. And she lived in a glorified broom closet. Wow. She whispers, taking it all in. They really went all out for everyone except me, huh? Shaking it off, she continues down the hall, eventually stopping at a grand set of doors. Taking a deep breath, she knocks. Inside are the Count and Countess Blake. Jayna's parents. Steeling herself, she gently pushes the door open and steps in. A mistake. The Count immediately narrows his eyes, scolding her before she even has a chance to breathe. Have you no manners? A lady does not enter so abruptly. Harsh. Our girl barely holds back a sigh. Seeing them in the flesh, they look even more sinister than they did in the game. That says a lot, considering they were already pretty terrifying there. Keeping her expression calm, she bows respectfully. Forgive me, she says with a polite smile. I simply came to inform you that I'll be leaving for the Duke's mansion today. I only wish to bid you farewell. Short. Polite. To the point. Now let's see how they take that. I already know it won't go down well with them. The obvious disdain on their faces says it all. The Countess eyes Jayna up and down, lips curling in disapproval. You expect to meet the Duke dressed like that? How humiliating. Our girl barely suppresses an eye roll. Of course this woman has a problem with her outfit. It's not unlike her to be hateful. But considering she doesn't own anything better, she simply shrugs. Well, whose fault is that, she says, tilting her head. You do know these rags are the only clothes I have, right? You could have gotten me better dresses, but you sit there and criticize my outfit. Silence. The Count rises to his feet, eyes widening in shock. He definitely didn't see that coming. The maids behind him freeze, exchanging nervous glances. Did she really just talk back to the Countess? Jayna, on the other hand, doesn't see the issue. She's simply stating the obvious. What, am I supposed to apologize for speaking facts? Before she can react, her father suddenly lunges forward, hand raised. Oh? We're doing this. She doesn't flinch. Instead, her lips curl into a mischievous smirk. Go ahead, she says smoothly. Hit me. Her father hesitates, but she doesn't stop there. But do keep in mind. What would the Grand Duke think if his bride arrived at his castle with a swollen face? The words strike like a well-aimed arrow. The Count stops mid-swing, his entire body stiffening. His hand trembles in the air, his face twisting with barely contained frustration. Jayna watches it all unfold with barely concealed amusement. Oh? What's wrong, dear father? Did reality finally catch up to you? She doesn't hold back. She drinks in his frustration, savoring every second of his helpless fury. Our female lead is practically washing it in his face. She's free and there's nothing he can do to change that. Because, for once in her life, he can't do a thing to her. Freedom at last. Two servants step in, carrying a neatly wrapped package. A gift from Count Altair, one of them announces. He sends his congratulations to Miss Jayna on her wedding. The Countess's brows shoot up in disbelief. Altair sent her a gift. She snatches the package and opens it, revealing an absolutely stunning coat. The fabric is exquisite, the craftsmanship flawless. It's expensive. You could probably sell it and buy a small house. Jayna's eyes light up. She's scheming something in her mind already. Oh? My God? She knows this coat. In the game's original storyline, Jayna had left for the Duke's mansion wearing her drab, tattered dress because, surprise, surprise, her loving stepmother had stolen her wedding gift. The Countess is diabolic. But this isn't the original story anymore. She isn't the old Jayna. With zero hesitation, she strides forward and snatches the coat right out of the Countess's hands. I'll be taking this, she says sweetly, gripping it like it's the last piece of cake at a party. After all, it is my wedding gift. The Countess is stunned. She just stands there, jaw slack, completely thrown off by her stepdaughter's audacity. She didn't expect this too. Jayna, still smiling, gives her parents a final, oh so polite nod. Thank you for raising me, she says, pure insincerity dripping from every word. It's been an experience. One she wishes to forget the moment she's out of the door. And then, with zero hesitation, she spins around and slams the door behind her. The Count and Countess remain frozen in place, staring at the door like it just personally insulted their entire bloodline. They genuinely cannot process what just happened. In the carriage, our girl sits back, gazing out the window as the world rolls by. The scenery doesn't look all that different from Earth. Green fields, towering trees, rolling hills, everything feels strangely familiar, yet there's an unmistakable difference in the air. Definitely not Earth. In the game's lore, this world isn't Earth, it's Elen, a land where all sorts of races coexist. Some live simple, quiet lives, while others spend their days messing with the arcane arts like it's a competitive sport. Magic here isn't some rare, mystical force, it's as normal as morning coffee. Mythical creatures roam freely, the supernatural is just part of the daily routine, and reality operates on a set of rules that would make a physicist cry. But not every corner of Elen is built the same. Take Northern Sironia, the place Jayna is headed to. It's not exactly a tourist hotspot unless the goal is not making it back. They don't call it the Devil's Nest for nothing. With its lethal monsters, brutal landscape, and a general turn back while you still can vibe. It's the kind of place most people avoid like an expired carton of milk. But the real reason it's famous, or rather, infamous, is its ruler. Duke Theoris Leocrana. The man. The myth. The walking nightmare. People whisper his name like it's a cursed spell, spreading stories about his terrifying reputation. Some say he's more beast than man. Others say he is a beast. Either way, folks steer clear of northern Saronia like it personally insulted their entire bloodline. And yet, for Jayna, this isn't a disaster. This isn't some tragic fate. This is the best thing that's ever happened to her. She grins to herself. Going to northern Saronia feels like a dream come true. The perfect opportunity to live a life of leisure, where she can do nothing but relax and let someone else handle all the hard work. She can already picture herself lounging in the Duke's mansion, probably with some pastries and a nice, warm blanket. Ah, the life. With a contented sigh, she leans back against the plush cushions of the carriage. Slacking off all day long. Yes, please. In an instant, the chariot comes to an abrupt stop, jerking our girl forward. She slams her face right into the seat in front of her. Oh! She groans, rubbing her nose, while the driver casually informs her they've arrived. And then, with zero grace, he tells her to get out. Well, that's rude. She clutches her briefcase, grumbling under her breath, as she steps out. And then, she sees it. The castle. It's like something straight out of a dark fantasy novel. The stone walls rise menacingly into the sky, surrounded by a dark, gloomy atmosphere. The place practically screams domain of a dark overlord. A castle shrouded in darkness. Definitely not the cozy dream home she imagined. Jayna pauses for a moment, squinting at the structure, unsure if she's at the right place. Is this really where she's supposed to be? She turns around to ask the driver if he's sure this is the place, but he's already gone. Without a word. Just zoomed off, as if she was some stray cat he picked up off the side of the road. She stands there for a second, dumbfounded. Did this guy really just leave me here? He dashes off with the carriage, paying no attention to her. The towering statues lining the castle entrance seem way creepier than she remembers from the game. She tilts her head, staring at them, half expecting one to blink. Were they always this menacing? She doesn't think so. In the game, they were imposing, sure, but this is straight out of a horror movie. The kind where the statues definitely aren't just statues. But, hey, it's fine. Totally fine. Nothing's going to stop her. She takes a deep breath, tightens her grip on her briefcase like it's a lifeline, and marches forward. This place might look like the set of Villain's Lair, Deluxe Edition, but she's here for a reason, and no amount of creepy decor is going to throw her off. Confidence in her step, determination in her heart, she walks straight toward the entrance, unfazed. High above, in his study, Duke Theoris Leocrana sits behind his desk, going through an absolutely thrilling stack of paperwork. He's focused, sharp, the very picture of a man who definitely has better things to do than stamp approval forms all day. And yet, something shifts. He pauses, pen hovering over the page. Something feels off. He can't put his finger on it, but there's a disturbance. A ripple in the air. A presence. Something is here. Something new. It's as if something changes in the air. A feeling. A presence. Without missing a beat, he rises from his desk and strides to the window. His gaze falls on the figure below, our girl, strolling across the grounds with a sense of purpose and briefcase in hand. Huh? His eyes narrow slightly, a hint of curiosity flickering in them. He's not used to guests arriving in his castle, and he hadn't expected her to show up with such casual confidence, and for some reason, he feels something different about her. This isn't just any Jayna Blake, he thinks, his mind racing. She's different. The first encounter will definitely be interesting. Jayna Blake charges toward the castle's entrance with the kind of confidence usually reserved for movie heroes who've clearly never seen a horror film. But all that bold energy screeches to a halt when a swarm of bats suddenly fills the sky like they are auditioning for a vampire-themed flash mob. Jayna visibly flinches, her nerves doing the Macarena, but she takes a deep breath and reminds herself there's no actual monster waiting. He's really just a ridiculously handsome male lead she fully intends to fall for. As she steels herself, a sudden pop noise beside her nearly launches her soul into orbit. She spins around and finds what looks like a holographic template hovering midair, like some kind of magical pop-up ad. It flashes a cryptic warning, but Jayna doesn't even hesitate. Our girl taps her preferred option faster than a kid claiming the last cookie, and dramatically declares she'd be thrilled to be trapped here with the Duke. The hologram, clearly impressed by her enthusiasm, wishes her luck on a treacherous journey, which, frankly, sounds like code for romance with plot twists, and then it vanishes like a magician on his lunch break. Right on cue, the castle doors creak open in a way that's definitely trying to win an award for most suspenseful entrance. Jayna freezes, squinting at the doorway and muttering to herself, it didn't open like this in the video game. Glitches, maybe. Or possibly just foreshadowing with a dramatic flair. With her confidence wobbling like a jelly on a carriage ride, she steps into the grand hallway and greets everyone, well, anyone who'll bother to notice. A few strides in and she's hit, with a cough loud enough to wake the portraits, as dust and something suspiciously like old socks assault her senses. Our female lead waves the smell away dramatically, throwing in a comment about how disappointing the castle is, especially for someone with a title, even if the Duke's technically an extra chapter in the royal storybook. But then, she rethinks it. After all, she's an illegitimate daughter too, conveniently packaged off into an arranged marriage like yesterday's leftovers. Duke Theo, the mysterious master of this dusty palace, is the late Empress's unacknowledged son, banished to chilly northern Saronia thanks to an emperor with a jealousy complex the size of the kingdom. Honestly, it's not all that different from her own story. She wasn't exactly showered in affection by Count Hans Blake and his fashionably indifferent wife. The whole marriage arrangement was less romance and more royal chess match, all set in motion by an emperor who treats people like gold coins, collectible, and entirely for show. Count Blake, bless his gullible heart, got lured in by the perks of rubbing shoulders with the imperial family, and here she is sweating through royal politics, dusty hallways, and existential comparisons. Despite the valuable alliance both families like to brag about, neither side was particularly eager to sacrifice their shiny, legitimate offspring. So naturally, Theo and Jayna, both conveniently labeled as extras in their family trees, were picked. A marriage between two illegitimate children. Perfect. Practically poetic. Our leading lady, ever the realist with a flair for sarcasm, decides that, all things considered, her current predicament is still leagues better than being reborn as a cabbage farmer. But something's off, eerily so. She glances around and realizes the place is about as lively as a haunted teapot. No servants, no sounds, not even a squeaky floorboard with personality. That's her cue to stop dilly-dallying and go straight to the Duke. A chill runs down her spine as she remembers one crucial detail from the game. There are 50 gloriously tragic bad endings, and most of them are triggered by meeting the male lead the wrong way. No pressure, her eyes land on the tower, the one spot ominous enough to host a brooding romantic interest. Naturally, that's where Theo is. After navigating through some very "you're not welcome here" vibes, she finally reaches the towering door. And then, pop. Another holographic screen appears, like the universe's version of a pop quiz. It's time to choose her next move. Thankfully, she's basically memoized the game's script like a sleep-deprived drama student before finals. With a grin and enough confidence to power a small kingdom, she selects the correct option, ready to dodge yet another game-ending disaster. Jayna Blake tries to tap the glowing holographic options with the kind of confidence usually reserved for touchscreen menus, but her hand goes straight through like she's swiping air at a fancy light show. She grits her teeth and tries again, and again, and again, but the result stays the same. Frustrated, our girl mutters something about useless magical interfaces, and wonders how she's supposed to pick anything if the thing's allergic to physical contact. But before she can spiral too far, her body decides to take initiative. Without consulting her brain, she lunges toward the door, and promptly falls right through it, smacking face first into the cold stone floor. Dignity. Missing in action, our female lead groans, lifts her head slowly, and cradles it with both hands as the pain sets in. Then a loud, commanding voice booms from across the room, demanding to know her purpose. She looks up and there he is, Duke Theo himself, looming like a Gothic painting come to life, all sharp angles and untouchable vibes. She's starstruck, he's here, yes, in the flesh. Our female lead barely has time to fangirl internally before another holographic set of options flickers in, and she snaps back into gamer mode. Instead of answering his question directly, she asks one of her own, stands up with as much grace as possible post-faceplant, and dusts off her, still beautiful, slightly crinkled, gown. Theo's eyes narrow. A frown tugs at his lips as he asks who she is again. Our girl holds her expression firm and cool, casually suggesting that maybe he should go first. He doesn't say anything for a beat and just stares like he's trying to read her soul, then finally gives a dramatic, noble-worthy introduction that could probably use its own theme music. Jayna Blake straightens herself up with the grace of someone who totally didn't just faceplant through a magical door, and bows respectfully to the towering figure before her. With a radiant smile that could outshine a chandelier, she introduces herself and boldly announces that, starting today, she'll be his wife, as if the role had always been hers by divine right. The word wife hangs in the air like a firework mid-explosion. Theo, the ever-composed Duke, freezes. His brow furrows as our girl demands some clarification because surely, this isn't how his afternoon was supposed to go. Without missing a beat, Jayna pulls out a neatly sealed letter, cue dramatic parchment rustling and hands it over with all the confidence of someone delivering a royal decree. Our female lead explains that their marriage was arranged by the imperial family and encourages him to read the details himself, as if this was just standard Tuesday paperwork. Theo opens it, scans the contents like a man reading a plot twist, and eventually nods. It's real, very official, obviously signed, sealed, awkwardly delivered. Meanwhile, Jayna stands there glowing like she's just won the kingdom's lottery, her smile practically bouncing off the castle walls. But just as she starts mentally planning their future curtains, the young master drops the bombshell: he wants the marriage annulled. The words hit her like a surprise villain in the final game level. She's so stunned, wide-eyed, and for once, completely out of witty responses. The young master, however, looks like he's just asked for tea instead of rewriting her fate. Where does this leave them? Is this the beginning of a love story, or the opening scene of a royal train wreck? Jayna Blake spirals into a full-blown panic, clearly not expecting Theo to casually drop the news of an annulled marriage like it's a dinner menu change. The man himself, oddly calm, questions why they should just accept things as they are. He offers a wild plan to help her sneak out unnoticed and wants her honest opinion. Jayna, caught off guard, stammers for a moment before bursting into tears like someone who just dropped their ice cream. Between sobs and dramatic gasps, our girl dives into a full pity performance, explaining how her home life is a disaster zone, parents who barely tolerate her, a family that treats her like she's furniture. Theo listens but squints suspiciously, reminding her of the many less than flattering rumors about him, the whole evil blood saga, and those dramatic tales of him being colder than a popsicle in the Arctic. Jayna Blake waves it off like someone brushing away a bad review, insisting she believes he's secretly a softie with a warm heart. Her words, paired with her annoyingly dazzling beauty, visibly crack Theo's carefully curated emotional wall. He spins around so fast you'd think he was dodging a sneeze, clearly trying to hide the smile threatening to break through. Without another word, he takes the lead, offering to show her to her room. Behind him, Jayna Blake grins quietly to herself like a villain who just got away with a master plan. As the two make their way through the castle hall, Jayna casually points out the thick layer of dust coating everything like it's trying to qualify as a snowstorm. Our female lead asks about his servants. Do they exist or are they all just invisible? Theo, the ever-charming conversationalist, says absolutely nothing and keeps striding ahead like she's part of the background music. Unbothered, Jayna mentally concludes that his affection level must still be scraping the bottom of the barrel, probably sitting at a glorious 0%, based on how affection mechanics usually work in games. Our female lead reminds herself it's all about choices and milestones, unlock enough good points, and boom, romance route. While she's busy thinking about level-ups and love stats, she walks right into him as he stops abruptly in front of what he claims is her room. She quickly looks up to thank him, trying to score at least one decent reaction, but Theo might as well be a brick wall with legs, completely unresponsive. Her pride takes a tiny hit, but our girl tells herself it's a slow burn. She's not giving up yet, not when she's sure the plot still has room to improve. Theo keeps walking but soon stops again, turning halfway back. Her earlier words echo in his mind like a catchy tune, her sincerity, her smile, her frustrating optimism. The young master shakes his head like someone trying to dislodge a stubborn thought, silently scolding himself for entertaining feelings he's convinced are as useful as a chocolate teapot. No matter how much Jayna tries to sweet-talk him, Theo remains suspicious about our female lead's sudden appearance, like she just dropped in from a suspicious side quest. Trust? Nowhere in sight. As she steps into the room, she's immediately hit with a horror far greater than Theo's attitude. The whole place is a disaster. Dust bunnies have started a full-on civilization, and the air smells like it's been marinated in neglect. With no servant in sight, Jayna is furious. Still, she rolls up her sleeves, because if her dream of a pampered life is going to survive, this room needs a miracle. She scrubs, sweeps, and sanitizes like her luxury points depend on it, which they kind of do. After what feels like a boss-level cleaning challenge, the room finally sparkles. Feeling proud, she heads for the drawer to unpack, humming her victory tune, until she opens the closet and stares directly into the face of terror. Cue a scream so powerful it probably scared birds off the castle roof. Theo bursts in like an emergency knight, demanding answers. But instead of words, he gets Jayna launching herself at him in a dramatic embrace, clinging like her life depends on it. While our guy tries to figure out why she's dressed like she's halfway through laundry day, Jayna waves off the outfit talk like it's irrelevant DLC content. The female lead dramatically declares the existence of a massive, terrifying spider in her closet and begs the evil-blooded Duke to save her from the eight-legged doom. The moment the words "help me" slip out of Jayna Blake's mouth, regret hits her like a flying frying pan, too late to take it back now. With the damage done, she sheepishly asks Theo to do something about the eight-legged nightmare in her closet. Cool as ever, the young master, Theo barely lifts a finger before summoning a glowing beam of light that blasts the poor spider halfway across the continent. The spider, probably mid-spider thought about dinner plans, is sent hurtling through the air, wondering what it did to deserve such rude eviction from the only home it's ever known. Theo, utterly unbothered, turns his attention back to Jayna, who's still dramatically sprawled on the floor. Our female lead insists she's fine, but inside, chaos reigns. This was a pivotal moment from the game's storyline, a make-or-break event. In the original playthrough, the OG Jayna Blake had gently coaxed the spider out with a whisper and a smile, winning the young master's cold heart just a bit. That single act of kindness bumped his affection level up a whole 10%. But here she is, spider-slaying scream and all, probably scoring negative points like she's in a romance speedrun gone wrong. Her inner turmoil leaks out as she spirals into full drama mode, tears streaming and voice cracking like a broken flute. Theo stares in silent confusion, unsure if he just witnessed a tragic emotional collapse or a really bad audition. Jayna clutches her head, drowning in self-disappointment, wondering if our girl's just ruined her only shot at love with the game's most unreasonably attractive and emotionally unavailable man. Jayna Blake takes deep, uneven breaths, struggling to understand why even breathing feels like a chore. First her chest tightens, her vision swims, and her stomach is doing a pretty convincing job of protesting lunch. When she glances down at her palm and sees blood, full-on panic mode kicks in. She calls out for help, but instead of a rescue squad, she gets Theo laughing like a Saturday morning cartoon villain. He gently shushes her like she's a startled puppy, assuring her she's safe now, which would be comforting if our guy didn't have that whole glowing eyes of doom thing going on. Then, with all the drama of a soap opera groom, he cradles her like a tragic bride and throws in a creepy nod to their wedding vows, basically announcing, "You're mine now." Before this horror cutscene can get any worse, someone calls her name, and Jayna snaps back to reality, well, relatively speaking. She's still here, with Theo, who now claims with way too much confidence that the spider situation is 100% handled. No more creepy crawlies, Scout's honor. Jayna says she's fine, which would be more convincing if she weren't visibly trembling like a leaf in a thunderstorm. That vision of Theo won't leave her alone, playing on a loop in her mind like a cursed movie trailer. In this twisted little game, our female lead knows there are multiple bad endings with her name on them, and most of them involve the Duke's rather dramatic idea of affection. Still, Jayna Blake gives herself a pep talk because, hey, if she's still got lives left in this nightmare, then maybe, just maybe, our girl can turn things around. Theo glances over at the trembling lady, and in an uncharacteristically gentle move, drapes his coat around her like a protective burrito wrap. The Duke casually mentions that this part of the nation is much colder than the Blake estate, so obviously that's the real reason she's shaking like a leaf, not the fact that Jayna just had a mini horror movie moment featuring him as the villain. Our male lead suggests she keep the coat on while he goes off to find her something more suitable to wear. Honestly, he's being surprisingly thoughtful. Is it just her, or is the scary young master actually nice? With that, he steps out, leaving her alone with her racing thoughts. The fact that he gave up his coat despite usually avoiding attention like it's contagious, makes her question whether he actually dislikes her, as much as she assumed. Snuggled in the oversized jacket, Jayna finally exhales, finding a small moment of peace in its cozy warmth. A little while later, Theo returns, holding an old dress that he hands over without ceremony, telling her to try it on. The moment she touches it, her eyes widen. It's just what she imagined for a place this frosty, thick, soft, and clearly designed to keep its wearer from turning into a popsicle. He steps out again like a gentleman, or someone very allergic to awkwardness, and once she's dressed, our female lead calls out to let him know she's ready. She even thanks him, genuinely touched by the thoughtful gesture. Now dressed for the weather and radiating comfort, Jayna practically glows, and Theo, silent but smiling, seems to notice. Our male lead finds himself staring a second too long, quietly baffled by how Jayna Blake manages to look effortlessly graceful even wrapped in a coat 2 sizes too big. Our male lead clears his throat like a man trying to reboot his brain and casually informs her that the servants will handle the cleanup tomorrow. Jayna, not one to wait around in a mess, asks why they can't just clean it up tonight. Instead of answering, Theo pulls a classic, "I didn't hear that," and walks off without a word, which instantly lights a fire under her. Our female lead's more than annoyed, she's suspicious. In the game, the servants only showed up much later, so their sudden mention now is like a weird plot twist, and Jayna Blake's detective instincts are officially on high alert. Just as he's about to leave the room, Theo pauses and asks where the bedsheets are, noticing the bed is basically just a mattress in the wild. Jayna casually explains that she threw them out, since they were dirty, and the seams were tragic. That answer nearly gives him a full emotional breakdown. With the most dramatic expression of despair, he announces that there are no clean bedsheets left in the entire castle. At first, Jayna laughs, thinking he's joking, but when she realizes he's dead serious, she lets out a yelp of pure disbelief. She questions him like he just told her the moon was made of cheese, and with all the enthusiasm of someone volunteering for a dentist visit, the young master mutters that she'll have to sleep in his room tonight. Cue the sparkles. Jayna Blake suddenly feels like she's won the lottery. If awkwardly sharing a room with the mysterious young master is the prize, our girl's absolutely here for it. With the young master, Theo leading the way, Jayna follows, practically floating on her own excitement. She's mentally high-fiving herself, convinced she's made more progress in one night than some players do in a whole playthrough. Part of her even wonders, just a little, if this is their weird version of a honeymoon. But then the door swings open, and reality gives her a light slap. At first, she's impressed, eyes wide as she takes in the room, but that excitement quickly fizzles. From the look and even the faint musty scent, it's not exactly the grand royal suite she hoped for. Honestly, it feels like a gloomy twin to her own room. As she steps inside, she can't help but wonder how he's been living here all alone like it's totally normal. Soon enough, the usual options flash through our girl's mind, game knowledge kicking in, but this time, instead of going for the affection-maximizing choice, she decides to improvise. Marching right past Theo, she slides open the curtain and boldly announces that it's way too dark in here for her taste. Without hesitation, she throws open the window too, letting a wave of cool air and moonlight pour in like she owns the place. The sudden brightness startles Theo for a second, but instead of getting annoyed, he just stares. There's something about her, it's got to be her boldness, the way she doesn't tiptoe around him like everyone else, that leaves him a little stunned. Our female lead's nothing like what he's used to, and honestly, it's kind of amazing. It's a freezing night, the kind that makes your nose regret existing, and Theo finds himself completely mesmerized by the way Jayna's eyes glisten under the moonlight like she's holding the whole cosmos in her gaze. Of course, the mood gets absolutely body-slammed when she tilts her head and casually asks why he looks so spaced out. Flustered, the young master, Theo clears his throat and mumbles something about leaving now before making a not-so-subtle move for the exit. But Jayna's faster. She grabs his wrist with a gentle but firm grip, and says she actually wouldn't mind chatting a bit longer. With that, she settles under the covers like this is all perfectly normal, and he cautiously sits at the edge of the bed like it might bite him. Then, without warning, our female lead drops the bomb, asks if they'll be sleeping together tonight, since there's only one bedsheet in this grand, sheetless castle. Theo turns the color of a ripe tomato, stammering as he asks how she's so confident throwing out statements like that. Jayna shrugs like it's obvious and reminds him that they are married now, end of discussion. Poor Theo looks like he just got hit with a romantic plot twist he wasn't ready for. Meanwhile, Jayna Blake is absolutely enchanted, staring at him like he's the main event, handsome, awkward, and just the right amount of flustered. But the moment is cut short by a loud growl from her stomach that could probably be mistaken for an animal. Mortified, she clutches her stomach, silently pleading with it to calm down since it's clearly not dinner o'clock. When the growling refuses to chill, she shyly asks about the status of dinner. Theo, suddenly realizing he's been a terrible host, apologizes and moves over to his drawer. Jayna watches him curiously, half expecting something fancy, only to be handed a mystery packet that looks suspiciously medicinal. He says, with a straight face, that this is her dinner and honestly, if bland survival rations were a love language, he might be fluent. Jayna Blake bursts into laughter the moment Theo presents her with what looks like a packet of chewable disappointment, thinking he's joking. But our girl's giggles come to a screeching halt when she catches the dead serious look on his face, cold, unbothered, and about as playful as a doorknob, as he himself puts it. That's when reality taps her on the shoulder. All the grand fantasies she had of sharing a romantic, candlelit dinner with the Duke-turned-master chef start crumbling like stale biscuits. The mental image of Theo in an apron, serving up gourmet delicacies, slowly fades into a sad grey cloud. Clearly, this whole mysterious castle wife life isn't exactly the five-star fantasy she signed up for. As she stares at the sad excuse for a dinner, her mood deflates like a balloon at a retirement party. The glamour she imagined now feels miles away, and for the first time tonight, Jayna starts to wonder if this chilly castle lifestyle is even remotely her style. During her days as A-Minute Kim, the female lead hits rock bottom, so broke our girl could barely afford air, and cup ramen becomes her sad little lifeline. Hunger messes with her head so badly she starts hallucinating gourmet meals in TV ads, and dreams of chewing on gold-plated steak. Even now, the memory of those days makes her stomach twist. Naturally, she pins all her hopes on the young master's mansion being a 5-star buffet fantasy. So when she finally arrives and is handed, drumroll, a supplement bar, our girl can't help but wonder if this is some twisted royal prank. Still, she keeps her cool, politely asks for the dining room's location, and the Duke, who clearly doesn't get why anyone would need directions to where food lives, tells her anyway. Then out of nowhere, Jayna Blake swoops in like a well-fed fairy godmother, grabs him by the arm, and marches off with that cheerful smile that says, "Don't ask questions, just follow." The young master is left blinking, confused but oddly cooperative. Meanwhile, our lead decides she just needs to keep her words polished and actions neat, as if avoiding a scandal is as simple as pretending she didn't just get punked by a protein bar. When she finally arrives at the dining room, the female lead is hit with the kind of shock that makes your soul leave your body for a moment: empty cupboards, a bare table, and a storage room that might as well echo from the lack of food. Jayna Blake just stands there, eyes wide, trying to process the cruel betrayal. After surviving on cup ramen and broken dreams, she expected at least a fruit basket, not the haunting silence of a foodless palace. With no servants in sight, bedsheets apparently on strike, and now this culinary apocalypse, our female lead starts to seriously question what this castle even has going for it besides dust and monsters. That's not even metaphorical, actual monsters. Her frustration boils over, and a few colorful curse words slip out before our girl can stop herself. Theo, ever the innocent, repeats her words with the kind of wide-eyed curiosity that makes her soul shrivel in guilt. She brushes it off, claiming it's nothing, but silently prays those words don't get stuck in his angelic vocabulary. With a dramatic sigh, she gives up on hope and dignity and settles for the sad little supplement bar. On the way back to his bedroom, silence hangs between them like a thick fog. Theo's brows knit with worry, realizing her mood soured the moment he offered her that cursed nutritional brick. Jayna, unable to bottle it up any longer, storms ahead of him muttering dark, vengeful things to the air: if the castle didn't have ghosts before, it might now. With her stomach waging war against her pride, the female lead finally gives in and chomps down the sad little nutritional bar like it's gourmet misery. Our male watches her closely, leans in just a bit too observantly, and remarks that she looks rather dissatisfied because she is, and our girl says so plainly. She then tosses him a question: would he enjoy this situation if their roles were reversed? Our male lead sighs, sympathy flickering in his eyes, and offers to make her a better meal. Sweet, right? Until he stands up like a knight on a mission, eyes shining with determination, sword in hand like he's about to go slay a dragon or wrestle a boar for dinner. Panic slaps her in the face as she realizes he's actually serious. She backtracks immediately, waving her hands like an overworked teacher on a Friday, and orders our guy to sit down. Theo obeys with the pitiful compliance of a child caught doodling on the walls, while she clarifies that the question was purely out of concern, not an invitation for medieval grocery shopping. Jayna, softening, tells him she's worried not just about the food, but about him. She walks over, takes his hand gently, and speaks with calm conviction, saying she wants them to build something better together. After all, they are married now. Surprise bonus twist. Our female lead pleads with him, gently but firmly, to value himself more. Her sincerity hits the young master, Theo, like a brick made of warmth and kindness. No one's ever talked to him like this before. Overwhelmed, our male lead stands and bows, mumbling an apology, but she just waves it off, insisting he's done nothing wrong except nearly vanishing into the night like a protein-powered swordsman. Our male lead doesn't think he's done anything wrong, but still apologizes like a gentleman with a PhD in politeness. And honestly, Jayna's heart does a little victory dance. Back when she played the game, the Duke was all cold stares and emotionally constipated dialogue. Our girl never imagined he had a soft side, let alone one this tender. His thoughtfulness catches her completely off guard, and she starts to wonder if all her focus on avoiding a tragic ending blinded her to the fact that Theo is actually a walking cinnamon roll in a nobleman's disguise. As our male lead bows, still halfway through his unnecessary apology, she leans in and gently stops him, insisting that there's no need to say sorry when he hasn't done anything wrong. Her words clearly throw him off. He stutters, adorably flustered, and asks what he can do to make her feel better. And just like that, Jayna is floored. Who raised this man? Angels? She takes a breath, eyes softening as she looks at him, and quietly makes her request. She wants to see his face, that's all. Theo blinks, clearly startled like she just asked for state secrets, but after a beat of hesitation, the mask falls to the floor in a gentle clink. The moment is almost cinematic. Finally, she gets to lay eyes on the elusive male lead in all his handsome glory, and let's just say, this story just leveled up in all the best ways. Enjoying this story so far? Drop a comment showing your interest in, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until next time, adios.